Another request from last week, or rather a new player, I believe, wanted a Black Sabbath tone in the tune of Iron Man. Said it was the only song they knew how to play, or were learning how to play, rather. Not 100% on that one. So I was like, easy enough. I will squeeze it right in with the Black Label Society one, because I was pretty much wrapping that one up, and Iron Man was fairly easy, and it's a fairly easy song for me to play as well. So let's jump into it. All right, so we're starting out with our completely sterile tone, just everything turned off or turned down. So we're going to put the amp on clean, and we're going to dial that gain to about 21, because we're going to add a distortion to this one, and we're going to use the variation. So we're just nothing but, like, clean on this one right now. Let's jump that volume up to about 89, where you might be able to hear it a little bit more, and hit that bass up to about 60. And we got plenty more EQs we're going to be going through as we go along here. As you can see, I got a parametric EQ here, but that's not where we're starting. Let's go down to the chain here. Let's finish up the equalizer on the amp. You got to turn the mids down a little bit to about 38-ish, and the treble up to about 66. We are using a vintage amp with the presence on about 73. So we've got our amp dialed in all the way across there. Let's go down to our chain. We're using chain 3 because on this one I've got a boost, a mod, and an equalizer in the FX going before the amp. So that's the one we want, and we'll move on to the booster. We're dialed in on the panel. Moving on to the booster. For this booster, I tried something I haven't really tried on any other tones yet, and I'm using the Fat DS, the Fat Distortion. And I've got the drive on this one right up to 75. The tone up to about +8. And the bottom down to about 6-ish. And the level up to 53. Don't worry about anything after that. So let's see how we're sounding without it. We're sounding super clean. With the Fat Distortion, sounded good. We're getting there. Moving on to the mod, I just have a simple compressor here, a light compressor. I'm going to turn it on, and I'm going to get the sustain to about 64, just so we have a little more sustain on it. I got the attack dialed back to about 49, 50, and the tone is kind of cranked up, probably a little higher than I need it. You can play with that one, or you can just decide to leave the mod altogether out of it. It's up to you, the compressor. And I've got the level up to 52, so without it, with it, I almost like it without it. That's up to you. I kind of like it without it, so I'm going to leave it without it. But in the patch, it's going to be on, so you can play with that one. Now, moving on over to the effects, I have got a graphic equalizer set up on this one. So let's find our graphic equalizer on here. And starting from the left, I got this in -2 on the lows and -1 on the lows. You got the bass in the background. You don't really have to turn that up. It just seemed to work right about there. +1 on the 125, +3 on the 250, and +2 on the 500. These are your mids, and as it goes up, it's low, mids, highs, and then this one's so high you can't even hear it. So that one, just leave it alone. Where did I stop at? I stopped at the 5. Going over to the 1 kilohertz, I think I got it at +1, and then the 2 kilohertz down to -1. -2 on the 4, and on the 8, -4 on the 8. And then I just have +5, just to give it a boost since we dialed some stuff back a little bit. And let's how we're hearing without. With. Much thicker, much more rounded out, much more sounding like the actual tone. So after the effects, we got the delay. Now I just have a simple analog delay on here, and I've got the delay time set at about 420-ish milliseconds, and the feedback at about 35, and the high cut as at 630. I don't know why I had the high cut set there. It was probably just set there. Most of the time when I go in here and I mess with the delays, I never even mess with these high cuts. And if it's already set there and everything sounds good, I just leave it alone. So I got the effect level dialed back to 20. Let's just strum, hear what we're sounding like. Now with the delay. Just gives a little feedback in the background, a little doubling effect. And after the delay, we have the reverb. Now I'm using a plate reverb on this one, and the reverb time's pulled back to 2.5 seconds and 25 milliseconds on the delay. It's just going to be a subtle reverb. I've got these dialed in flat. The density's left at 5, and I've only got the effect level on to 17. So let's hear it without the delay. The reverb without, and with the reverb. It's very subtle, but if you have the delay on, you can't tell that much. I think it sounds good though. So now that we have the whole amp dialed in, let's go over here to the parametric EQ. And this one's dialed in a little bit differently than I normally do. I got it at about +5 on the low gain and 40 on the low cut. The low mid frequency I have set on the usual 250 and -2 on the gain. I left the mid and high, the high and low mid Qs at 1, and I've got the high mid gain at +2, and I've got this one actually. I normally have it at 160, but I got it down to 125, and I've also have this one lower than I normally do. I have it down at 4, and I have the high gain up 2, and just to boost everything up, we're at +4 on the level. Let's hear it now. We're all dialed in except for the noise suppressor. I've got the noise suppressor set at about 45 on this one, and the release dialed back to about 10. So let's hear it. Let's hear it in the mix. Who doesn't want to learn Iron Man? I mean, especially if you're a beginner guitarist and you're a Black Sabbath fan, that's just a new, awesome, easy song that you can learn how to play. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you like this video, hit that like button for me. And if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button, and it'll help maybe the channel flourish, and I can bring more good content to you guys. We'll see you next time.